Hello and welcome to the show, Tamara. We're so excited to have you. Your philosophy and take on well-being and just approach to life is so beautiful and so unique, and we're excited to showcase your wisdom.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm super humbled to be here, and I'm glad we have this conversation. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. That is just, already with your philosophy and your energy, your attitude just shows me that you are no bullshit. And I just
No.
love
Time
that.
is short. Life is short.
Life is way too short to fuck around. So why don't you get started by telling us a little bit about you? How did you get into this soul path, this mission, this career? Like what was a high level journey to get here?
Okay, so well, at this point, I do so many things that I will step a bit back for. Well, I was born really not good in my health because I had asthma for a kid, a lot of allergies, a lot of things. I think health issues are a big beautiful thing if you can look at it in a good way to help you accomplish something with yourself and with others. So I was born really unwell in a lot of senses because my bowels didn't work in a proper way. I have allergies in my skin, in my rhinitis, and my sinus were completely off. And I've been like that until I was 12, getting on antibiotics and cortisone and off and on, off and on. And then my mom, when I was 11 or 12, took me to a holistic doctor in Lisbon, which was a lot of years ago, and which is really rare in Portugal. And we are a small country, so it was strange. And it changes the way I eat. I am completely intolerant to everything that comes from a cow. And my grandmother, because that's all she knew, she always feed me at dinner, at lunch with milk, every single meal since I am 1 year old until I was 12. And I was completely allergic, intolerant, it destroyed me. It's not only the lactose, the casein, it will completely destroy me. And then it took me off everything that comes from a cow, everything, like even red meat, everything, chocolate, oranges. I had a 12 things list, and it completely changes my life in a lot of ways. And I was a different person in my temper, in my sleep, in my pain, in my comfort with my own body. And I think that's how it begins. But then adolescence came in, and it was a bit messy because I have an adolescent daughter, so they are crazy, and yeah, completely crazy. But she's okay, but it's difficult. And then when I was 18, I decided to study a holistic approach. So I did traditional Chinese medicine studies, but with China University, which has the three years. We have a common medical school and traditional Chinese medicine school. And it was really pretty cool. I really like it.
We're used to Western allopathic medicine, the take a pill for anything that you've got. So can you talk a little bit quickly about the differences between traditional Chinese medicine and what the normal United States person is dealing with when they go to a doctor, and like how people can start to maybe incorporate a couple of the things, because I know there's some really basic things that people can start doing already to improve their health if they're used to just going to get a checkup, used to going to get antibiotics, the Z-Packs,
I think it's important to understand that anything which is therapeutical has a toxic effect. So this is a main thing that people have to understand. The bigger the medicine, the bigger the toxicity. The difference between toxicity and a venom and a drug is the dosage, because every drug is a venom, every single one of them, even if it's herbs. So this is important. It's an important concept. So when you get this straight in your head, you understand that every single med you put in your body has a toxic effect. It has a reaction, but it has a upper reaction in your body because nothing is free of charge. So it's important to understand that. Even with herbs, even with supplements, So it's really important, even if you are changing the chemicals to supplements and to herbs, it's important you go to someone who really knows it and don't Google it. That's really important. Okay. So the difference, and at this point, you know, the traditional Chinese medicine has evolved a lot because it's a really old medicine, 2000 years of history, a lot of experimentation, a lot of people. So this is really important because it's a really studied medicine in that sense, with a lot of practical and practice. And Chinese are very methodical in the way they organize things. And traditional Chinese medicine is really methodical in the way they organize things. The difference is, at these days, of course, we see blood tests, of course, we see CT scans. It's impossible not to do that. We do integrative medicine, but the difference is we don't treat the disease, we treat the patient. This is beautiful to say, but in reality, what we do is, in traditional Chinese medicine, both of you can come with a problem on your acid reflux, to keep it simple. But I will treat it differently because you're different people. It's really strange for me to give the same medication for you and for you, even if the primary cause is the same.
Wow.
So this is the difference, because I have to analyze all of your body. And normally the causes are different, because acid reflux can be different from people to people. We are all different. And the difference is that we treat the person and the symptoms according to the person, not according to the disease. So to make sure that the disease don't evolve, and to make sure the disease stay healed, and the imbalance stay cured. So this is the difference. If I treat acid reflux in the same way to everybody, some people will be cured, some people will have acid reflux 20 times again in the next 3 months, because it's not the cure for them, because we didn't look at the patient. We didn't understand. We didn't change the diet. We didn't change the habits. We didn't lower the anxiety. Maybe the acid reflux in you comes from the food. Maybe in you comes from stress. Maybe in you comes from a problem in your diaphragm. Maybe in you comes from a bacteria, a pylori bacteria. And they treat all the same, as if it's the same disease, and it's not. You have to understand the disease and where it's coming from. And in that sense, in the traditional Chinese medicine appointment, at this point, we don't do traditional Chinese medicine, we do integrative medicine, because today it's impossible to do that. It's just super strict. And for me in my clinic, in my 2 clinics, we just do it really open, really integrative. So we have to do to see all of the life of the patient, what he do for a living, the levels of stress, anxiety, the things he's been through the last 2 years, the medicine he's taking. Maybe it's some medicine he's taking which is provoking the acid reflux. Maybe it's intolerance, food intolerance. Maybe he's got a problem with the sinus. He's always swallowing up some of the bad things from the sinus, and the acid reflux comes from here. Maybe it's from stress. Maybe it's from the sleeping disorder. He's always with a mouth open, doesn't breathe from the nose. I can tell you like these 3,000 things can cause acid reflux. And if you do just esomeprazole, which you give, it's the most prescribed drug in every country, doesn't do nothing. Doesn't treat nothing. It's bullshit. And it's bad for your health. They have a ton of side effects. It's a bad drug, actually, and it's super dangerous. So you should take it for a short period of time to lower your symptoms and to understand what's really going on with you, and then you treat it. And this is the difference. I hope you understand me. Yeah.
So when you're talking about herbs and we're talking about different kinds of medicines, when you're saying that there's a certain amount, obviously all are toxic, like you said, should we be cycling off of almost everything that we do on a natural basis? So, I mean, any type of supplement, you're taking lysine, you're taking vitamin D3, you're taking calcium, or something. These are all things you should at some point be saying, I'm not taking that right now.
No, you should be tested.
Okay.
You have blood tests, do it.
How often do you recommend?
My patients, 4 and 4 months, they do it.
Every 4 months, okay.
Every 4 months. Why are you taking vitamin D? You need it?
I mean, we live in Texas. You don't need any vitamin D here. It's pure sun.
You
Okay.
need it? No, but then people say, oh, but be careful. You have to wear sunscreen. Okay, you wear sunscreen all the time. You don't get vitamin D.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's not it's not to be in the sun like 20 hours a day, but you have to get a little bit of sun. It has to come in a bit. Don't put it like a sun blocker all the time. So your kids 10 to 50 minutes a day, at least without sunscreen, off peak hours, they have to get a little bit of sun in the skin. And this is important. And
What would you
there's a
say-
lot of things.
I was going to say, with that lot of things, what would you say would be the baseline? If you could rewrite the health book today, what would be the like top 5 things that you would recommend that every physical body, energetic body gets or receives or does to create that optimum well-being?
Okay, so the first thing, you're not going to like it. Nobody likes it, but you have to sleep 9 hours, and you have
that.
good for me.
Love
Because
that.
normally they hate that, because I say 9 hours counting from 22 p.m., 10 p.m.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Beyond that, it's not counting. Doesn't work. Okay, because the first time of sleep, it has to be between 22 and 1 a.m. It's really, 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 I cannot stress this enough. This is really important. And you have to change, because you have to, because the cycles of REM sleep, you have to do it 3 or 4 cycles. And if you don't have the first cycle, you cannot do the 4 cycles. Otherwise you cannot do it at day. Yes, midnight. So this is important. So you have to go to bed 9:30. I mean, you have to be sleeping at 10. This is extremely important. So 1.
Okay.
Second thing, you have to mind your thoughts. This is really important, because thoughts are chemical and they pollute your body as well as your food. It's not only be perfect eating and perfect coaches and perfect everything, beautiful Instagram, and then your mind is always shit in your brain. So this is same thing. It's polluting, like you're eating McDonald's every day, because your mind creates thoughts, and thoughts create chemicals. When you're thinking of fear, your amygdala is rising up and your cortisol is getting high. It's chemical, and you cannot control it because it's automatically. So if you don't control your mind, it's impossible to be healthy, because you're always out of self-polluting your body.
I totally.
Third thing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so this is really important, because you can be fit and perfect and beautiful, and if your mind is polluted, no, not you, I think everybody.
No, seriously, when I was like 18, 19, 20 years old, I was working out all the time, only eating a certain amount of calories. I was doing all the right things on paper, but mentally I was talking about how fat I was. I hate myself. I'm not good enough. And then when I met Chris, my whole philosophy on myself changed, on the way that I approached health changed. And I dropped
beautiful.
I dropped 75 pounds within 6 months because of starting to love myself rather than constantly beating myself up on the inside.
Actually, because you lower your cortisol, and high cortisol gives you weight. It's weight gain directly. You can eat air and you will get weight. Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah, I love it. No nonsense.
So the third thing I would say, of course, you can eat clean. Eat clean normally is, I wouldn't say gluten-free. I would say wheat, good wheat you can eat, but bad wheat, you just take it off. And the United States, I don't know if the wheat is good, but I think it's not good. I go there a lot and it's not good. So wheat, you can take it off. Not gluten, because gluten-free things are terrible. It comes in the package, so I don't know which one are worse. So wheat, you take it off. Dairy, you should take it off. Alcohol, take it off. And caffeine, take it off. It's really difficult, I know, but this is important. Just take it, just in like 1 or 2, twice a month, and you will be okay. And then the fourth thing, of course, exercise, but not exercise like you see on the Instagram and all that. You exercise the one that you feel good. It can be anything. It can be walking. It can be stretching. It can be Pilates, yoga, whatever. Do something that's important for your mind and your body to relax and to lose the energy of your liver, which is important because liver controls anger and frustration. And if you move, it moves, and it helps you regulate emotions, which is important. And I think the fifth thing, breathing. I think you have to learn how to breathe. People don't breathe. It's a problem. It's a serious problem in the world. So I always begin my appointments. I have a master on oncology, integrative oncology, and I see a lot of cancer patients, of course, and autoimmune diseases. And first appointments, I always teach them to breathe, because people breathe here and it's crazy because you have a whole body to breathe and you have a lot of oxygen to put in your cells, and to breathe normally, you can gain years of life with breathing. And it can cool you down, and you can control a lot of your emotions, regulate your tiredness, your focus, your center with breathing. And it's really important to breathe. So I think if you do those 5 things, you'll be perfect for a long time.
Sounds like she's living the elevated
I
life.
know. I love it.
I am. How are you? Good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, this has definitely been our philosophy and take an approach to life over the last almost 2 decades. And it's totally radically changed our life, our health, our happiness, our joy. And that's ultimately what led us on this mission to share and empower others with living an elevated life, so that they could take that radical responsibility and control of their own health and happiness into their own hands. And it's really beautiful to see a doctor sharing this type of message. I guess we just have to go out of our own country, unfortunately, to get this kind of information. So can you share a little bit about you opening your clinics, going to school for oncology? Like, that's a big mission to take on. Like, what inspired that?
I don't know. I think I just do it. I'm a doer. I'm terrible. I have a lot of energy. It's a terrible thing. Well, I think maybe I will. Well, I have a clinic on my own for 16 years, and I have an honor to be a director for the 2 clinics, and I'm a director for Big Crew, which I love, with psychologists, with physiotherapists, with osteopathy, with normal doctors, traditional Chinese medicine doctors, and I love my crew, and they are a big part of my support, which is really important. And we are 32 at this point, and I think normally we go with the flow. So I love autoimmune diseases. That's the thing I love the most, because I have 2. That's normal. When you have things, I think it's natural. I have an Hashimoto's, and I have a problem in my bowel, a colitis, which is not really cool. And I had that since I'm 18. And really stress related and intolerance related, and a lot of things with mental patterns and wounds with fathers, and normal development. I think I hope it's normal for everybody. Should be normal.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Oh well, and I think it's really important. I think that the path begin like that. So we are a non-surgical clinic, but everything which is non-surgical, we do it. Every type of pathology, we have every type: gynecology, dermatology, everything. And obviously I direct all of the areas, but my area, it's autoimmune. But in the autoimmune, I think cancer is a type of autoimmune in my perspective, because it's a failure in your immune system, actually. So I think I felt the need of knowing a bit more, because I have a lot of patients with cancer since COVID. It was really heavy. I already seen a lot of them because of food and because of anxiety issues. And then since COVID, it was terrible. In Portugal, it was not cool. Blood tests weren't done because everything was a mess, and nobody went to the hospital. Nobody did the checkups. It was totally crazy. And it was really, really hard, and a lot of breast cancers come up and ovary cancers, and it was disaster last year. And I already began in 2020, to have my master's on integrative oncology and traditional Chinese medicine, which is really important because you can combine the herb with different kinds of chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which is important for the patient to support better the treatments. And it was actually really helpful for a lot of patients and for me. And I think the path it just goes along as you work. You know, it's not my choice. Like, oh, this is my choice. I think it's to go with the flow. You know, it's just okay. Let's do it and see what's happening. I'm not really strict, and I just go and it's knowledge. I love to learn, and I just go with things. Just I like it. I go and I see, and if I use it or not, I will always use it in some way. Because I'm a doctor, I work every day, 10 hours a day, so I will always use it in some way. I'm always learning something new and every day. And I think, yeah, and now I think I will have, if I can, a master's on something connected with psychoanalysis. I think I will do that. I don't know, we'll see. Next year. This year I'm going to write my 5th book, then we'll see.
You're just a superstar. When do you actually sleep 9 hours? How do you get this all done?
I sleep 9 hours. I'm a really good sleeper. I'm a pro.
It's a good balance.
I'm a pro sleeper.
I'm right there snoozing with you, sis.
All right, so I'm curious, because anytime you have a person who deals with sick people or people who are trying to get better in their health, there's a certain level of energy management, energy protection, energy cleansing that the practitioner has to use. What are some of the ways that you find balance, or what are kind of some of the ways where you can unload their problems and like, no, those are their problems and my problems are my problems? So how do you go about doing that?
Okay, I do a lot of things, but the thing I do most every Sunday at 12, I have psychoanalysis for the last 20, I don't know, I've been in my 20, since I'm 14, but in patient 20 years, I've been 19 years in a row. Every Sundays, I do psychoanalysis every Sunday, even vacation, not vacation, every Sunday, to unload a bit of the burden. And then I do energetic practices, clean up my body, water with salt, a lot of herbs. I always cleansing bath, a lot of meditation, cleaning auras. I do all like witchy style. I do all. And I have a lot of have here in labradoritis. I actually designed a line of crystals. I do a lot of things, actually.
I saw that you have a jewelry line. So how did that play?
Yeah,
when I'm going.
When I'm on vacation, I do a lot of things, which is really, when I'm on vacation, everybody in my clinic was like, oh my God, what is she going to do this time now? The jewelry I have since 2017, a long time now. I'm obsessed with crystals. I love it. I love them. And today I use them for 20 years or more. To a lot of things, to meditation, to breathing exercises, to lower anxiety, I have my house is crazy. I have an altar like 2 meters long. And in my clinic, we have a big altar too, which is beautiful. And I love that. I'm not religious in any way. I'm not even baptized or nothing, but I'm really a faithful person with a lot of faith, and I'm connected to the energetic part of the world, and energetic with the elements, because I'm traditional Chinese medicine doctor. So the elements are really important to me: earth, fire, water. And for me, I think it started there. I was completely obsessed with the crystals, and I started using them. And then I said, well, there's nothing that I like, I will do it. And then I do it. It's me. I just let's do it. And then let's do it. And it's really cool actually, because it's huge at this point. So it's got out of hand, but It's beautiful. They love it, and the crystals are beautiful. And I still pick them one by one as until today, one by one. So they are amazing, and they are all cleansed in sage, and everything is beautiful, and I love them. So I do a lot of practices.
I love how mindful and intentional you are with all of the choices and practices and just actions that you take in your life. It's so beautiful. Can you touch on some crystals for anyone listening? If they're like, I like crystals, but I don't really know like what to do with them or how to start. Like, would you recommend a certain type or one, or like what would be the go-to practice?
I think the important thing is if you feel the need, the urge to have one, you should have one. This is the first thing. It's just, maybe I should have a crystal. I don't know for what, but I should. Okay, you should. When they're calling you, as they say, you have to understand that crystals are magnetic and they produce energy. You can measure that. It's not an idea. It's not esoterical idea. It's a real thing. A quartz watch is a quartz watch. The quartz is energetical. It has energy. So this is important for people to understand. It's not an idea or a belief. It's just, it has energy, which is important. So I think the main thing you can do with crystals, for me, if you are starting, you can have, so the most clear crystal you can have, it's you have to have a selenitis in your house, which is really important to clean the crystals, which is really easy to find. It's just a stone, completely white, which is called selenitis, which is you have anywhere. And a quartz, it's a good piece of starting. A quartz, it's really a good crystal to start over with, because it can cleanse your energy. You can put it under your pillow, cleanse your aura, and in the next day you put the quartz near the selenitis, and during the day it will clean, and during the night it will clean you, and during the day you will clean the crystal, just like this, and it will be perfect. If you want to do something more heavy, if you think that someone is trying to do you some harm, or the energy is not good when you enter a space and you're feeling like not comfortable, you should use like a tourmaline, which is really beautiful. You can put it on your backpack or something, and it will go with you anywhere. And then at the end of the day, you take it off and put in the selenite. And the next day you pick it up and you put near the computer, near yourself, near the thing, your table at your work. And these two are really beautiful. These two with the selenite, you will manage.
I love it. I love that you keep it simple. You know, I always had a chunk of tourmaline in my apron at my salon when I'm working behind the chair. And I did not do a great job of cleansing it, because one day I always would hold it when someone would project all their stories and their crazy and their energy. I would just find myself intuitively reaching down into my pocket, grabbing the crystal. And one day I was holding it while someone was just pouring their heart out, and it shattered. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't cleanse you.
It happens, and it would shattered. It's okay. You just put it on the ground. Normally you have to bury it. And then you find another one, and it's okay. All right, so sometimes they have to break. It's important.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier that I think is really important, that is missing in a lot of our, Western practices. And you mentioned salt with water. Can you explain a little more about that? Because most people don't do that. So can you talk about like what's
salt is really important. You have two perspectives on salt. Salt is really important because it relaxes your muscles. So it's in a perspective of physical perspective, it's really, really important. If you have an opportunity to have a bathtub with salt, and if you have Epsom salt, you can find it in the States, because I found it in the States, so you can find it. It's really good because it completely relaxes your muscles. It will put all of your body to be so smooth and so relaxed. It will give you a perfect night of sleep. And at the other hand, in the energetic perspective, it will clean all of the things that can be more aggressive to the energy. And sometimes it's not like people are trying to harm you or something. Sometimes people just don't clean their energy. And energy, we are all energy fields. Your brain is a magnetic field, so everything is energetical in ourselves. And sometimes people are not clean in the energy, and they pollute the area. And sometimes you just like you see a person that you don't know and you don't like them immediately. It's just like, ooh, and they don't do anything, but your body reacts strangely. And when it's you have an encounter like that, you go home and you just put salt, relax your body, because you have a reaction. So you block all your muscles. So it's important to relax and to give your body a break from the reaction. And at the other hand, you clean all of the energetic stuff with salt. I love salt.
So one of the last podcasts that Chris and I recorded together was on eliminating and managing anger. And you brought that up earlier with the liver. Can you talk a little bit about anger, the liver, and all of things connected, and how to heal or eliminate, how you manage the energy?
Actually, we are in spring, and yesterday I was writing to my Instagram about that, because spring is the moment of the liver. So it's the moment of the anger and the moment of the frustration, and all the energy is just fire it up, which is difficult for some people. Because we have a transition from between, this transition is really difficult. And then the transition from October is also difficult. But we transition from the winter, and we are transitioning for an energy which is really heavy and really crazy and really unsettled and all over the place, with a lot of wind and a lot of movement and a lot of reactive. And this is the energy of the liver, which is the organ of this particular moment, which is connected to the element of the wood, which you can connect to frustration and anger. Because in traditional Chinese medicine, all of the organs are connected to some kind of feeling, and they are responsible for the transformation of that feeling. So you feel the feeling, and your liver has to be perfect health for you to feel the anger, which is completely normal. Everybody should feel angry. Everybody should feel everything, because we are here to feel. So it's normal and it's natural. So you feel the anger, and your liver, if you treat it well, process the anger, and it will come and it will go. The problem is that people don't have the liver clean. So the anger comes and the anger stays because it cannot go anywhere. So when it comes to spring, and when it comes to this energy of the wind and its energy of movement, the anger is starting to move. So how can you do to lower this? The one thing you can do is moving. Dancing, it will help you immensely, because liver, when you dance in this area, it's really important, because you are doing massages to the liver, and the liver will be contracted and distended and contracted. And this is really important to put the body to work and the organ to move. And this will really, really release your anger and your frustration. But the main thing and the important thing is to understand, why are you angry? With what? So this take you, if you are too angry, you do the dancing first, you take the breathing first, maybe you do some essential oils that can calm the liver. You can do it lemon, you can do it orange, something which a bit citrus, to make it work and to keep it moving, just to give some movement to the liver and just to keep it clean. And then you can do a bit of thinking, like, why am I angry? And to understand, when did I get angry? Can be 3 months ago, can be yesterday, can be today, can be 1 year ago, and it's revealing itself now. They are just waiting, the emotions. They have to be processed, so they can wait a long time. So just to understand, this is connected to what? And this takes time. Maybe it takes 30 minutes. Put some music and just understand. I'm angry with what, with whom. Doesn't have to make sense. Doesn't have to be real at this point. And sometimes I'm talking to my patients and say, oh, but I'm angry with my past boyfriend, but I don't love him anymore. I said, okay, it's not about him. It's about the feeling that you had in that moment. You didn't process, and it's still there. Forget him. There's nothing to do with him. So it's not about the person, or the thing. It's about the emotion that got stuck, and it has to go out some way. So dancing, understanding what, where, why, where, when, connect it, and then release it by dancing. Taking a shower, it will help a lot. Warm shower, citrus shower with essential oils, it will help a lot. And cleaning food for the liver. It was really good. So, which is cleaning food? Cleaning food is food with a bit of greens, which help a bit of the liver. No spicy, really neutral food. No garlic, no onions, nothing to put it to work, just neutral food like rice, greens, vegetables, really slow cooked, and fruits for 2 or 3 weeks, and the anger will go away. Normal.
So is that one of the reasons why alcohol is such a
Oof.
bad thing for us? Because we know that alcohol affects the liver. We know that typically people who are alcoholics have stuffed down a lot of anger. And it feels like if the drug of their choice is also suppressing the ability to purge the anger, I mean, that's a big recipe. I mean, that's definitely disaster.
That's a big recipe, and that's why sometimes the violence come up.
Yeah, big time.
Because it's and you have to have compassion for it. And this is, people don't like when I say that, but you have to have compassion because people are not able to deal with it because the liver is completely stuck. So if the emotion of frustration rises, it's just doesn't have a place to go. It's just people got completely, it's crazy. It's impossible. It's almost for the people who are living it, for the person who is an alcoholic, they go almost crazy because they cannot control and regulate almost any emotion which is connected to frustration, anger, and we get frustrated every day.
Yeah.
Imagine if you cannot, it's like a tantrum of a child every day. It's terrible. You just got all of the movements and the energy stuck every day. It's hell. It's hell. You know, it's hell. You have to be compassionate about it. It's not an excuse. Is important, but you have to have compassion and to understand that that body can no longer regulate emotions connected to that area, and this is a disaster for the human experience. Terrible.
All right, so we've talked about the liver, one of the big filtering mechanisms of the body.
Oh yeah.
I want to know more about the kidneys, which are another big filtering mechanism. Can you talk a little about that? How we can keep them in good shape, especially as we get older?
Yeah, so I will talk about that, which is really, Chinese are brilliant in a way, in a bad way, in a good way. They are really brilliant. So, you know that the Chinese 2000 years ago, I always tell this story because it's amazing. They found out that, and you have it for writing, and that the kidney is the center of the fear. Yeah. Which is really funny because 2000 years ago, we don't have CT scans. So they don't know about the adrenals. They don't know about cortisol, but they know that was the center of the fear, which is really cool. And the traditional Chinese medicine is beautiful actually, because it's so well done. I don't know who did it, but it's amazing. Yeah. So the center of the fear is actually the center and location of the adrenals, which are actually the response of fear in our body. So the kidneys are the center of the fear and the center of all of the energy. The last energy that you can use to survive is the surviving mode. It's completely accurate with the reality of these days. So it's the same. They wrote it down 1,000 years ago. So the energy of the kidney is the organ that gives you fertility, that gives you non-white hair, that gives you good bones, that gives you the strength and vitality of the center, that gives you a thing they call the jing, which is the center of your primordial energy, which is really important. And you can maintain it by sleeping well, not putting yourself at risk, controlling your emotion states, putting yourself neutral, and don't push yourself, because when you are in the limits, the energy you are using is the energy of the kidney, is the energy you should never use. Because that one, you should reserve it for the last resort. You should never go there. And when people are in the fight or flight mode for a long period of time, stress for a long period of time, they are always consuming that. And that is like, you have to protect it like crazy, because it's like your life force, like your thing, your holy grail of your body. It's really important.
It seems like that's what we burn through when we hit the stage of burnout. So can you maybe
for sure.
Can you talk to?
I was going there actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you talk to that? And like, how do people know that they're about to hit burnout, that they're in kidney reserve mode? Like, is there a physical sensation or sign that people look out for?
It is, there are a lot of physical sensations and signs. So normally when you're about to go in burnout, your body gives a lot of signs. First of them, you cannot longer sleep properly, which is strange. You are super tired, but your brain cannot disconnect because it has no longer the ability of relaxation. So you're so pumped up of adrenaline that it cannot come down anymore. It's just a high. You're in such of a high, you cannot come down. So you cannot go to sleep. So your body feels tremendous exhaustion, and your mind is just racing. So when you feel this disconnection of your body and your mind, it's like you are two different persons. It's a dissociation. When you feel this, normally pay attention. This is not good. You should be in synchrony. Body tired, mind tired. Mind tired, body tired. If mind is racing, body is not racing, what's happening to me? Why am I like this? I'm supposed to be one. Another thing which normally gives is you started to forget little words. You're going to say something and just it goes, and then you forgot again, and then what am I going to say? I'm going to the toilet, and what am I going to do in the toilet? And then you just lose it. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. You're starting to see this occurring frequently. You have to understand what's happening. And then lack of focus and motivation. You start wondering, do I like my job? Do I like my husband or wife? Do I like my house? When you're starting to do this, and everything, it's not only this, all together, starting to understand, oh, something is definitely not going right. Other physical symptoms: hair falling down, diarrhea, loss of appetite, anorexia. With loss of appetite, you can no longer, your body has no energy. So I cannot do digestion. So the body starts to choose so everything which is not vital, it will put it aside. So this are the same, a few symptoms that you can look up for, which is dangerous. And it takes about 2 years to recover from a burnout. So
can you explain a little bit about that? What takes 2 years? Like, why so long?
Because you go to the liver.
Because you've taken just like that, like honey pot out of there, and it takes a long time to rejuvenate that energy.
You never rejuvenate it. You fuck it. Sorry.
I love you. I'm moving in. Like I'm coming over.
Yeah, you fuck it. You fuck it. It's never the same.
So you can never rebuild that once you've tapped into that.
So you really have to protect it.
Yeah, you fuck it, and you can retouch it, and you can live a semi-normal life, but it's never the same.
So what are some of the dis-eases or effects that come from tapping into that kidney energy and burning out?
You have, I can give you I'm a translational medicine doctor, so I love poetry. So I can give you a bit of an image. Before burnout, it's like your mind has a lot of plasticity. So imagine like a really flexible movement, and it's flexible and you can put and go and go and go. And after the burnout, it's like it's stiff and it's just not so flexible anymore. So you can do everything, but you are not as flexible and flowing and fluid. You're a bit more stiff and you have to be more careful. So all of the stiffness, disease, stiffness in the mind, stiffness in the body, sleep disorders, bowel disorders, everything that comes from stiffness and control.
So stress is the big killer. I mean, stress is the thing we've got to be looking out for on a regular.
I think the problem is not stress. I think the problem is that people are not aware of their own bodies. People don't know themselves. They don't know the limits. They don't understand, because the body is always giving you feedback every day. You're just not listening.
Can you talk
the stress is not the problem for me. Everybody talks about stress and they don't give the responsibility to the people. What is stress?
Yeah.
Stress is disconnection. Is you're not listening, not stress. Stress is not a boogeyman. Oh, stress is killing me. No, stress doesn't exist, man. It exists, but it's not stress. What do you do to be connected to yourself? Do you listen to your body today? How is your body today? I always take to my patients, oh, stress. Okay, stress, beautiful, beautiful word. Beautiful, I love that. And then what? Means nothing. Means that you're not connected. Means that when you're doing like your body is yawning and you push it for 2 hours more, and then you complain about stress. That's not stress, man. That's not responsible for it. For me, I'm terrible with my patients. I just tell them, what if you're yawning at 9 o'clock, go to bed, man. Don't work 2 hours more. That's not stress related. Your body's telling you, I'm tired. Yeah. And what you do that. And then you say it's stress.
I find it so interesting, your take on not being connected to our body, because from someone who went through sexual abuse as a child, I disconnected from my body. I disconnected from my intuition, and that caused a lot of problems. It caused a lot of physical problems, weight gain, anger issues, all kinds of unresolved things. And it wasn't until I started going to a chiropractor where I would get adjustments and I could feel literally the energy moving up and down my spine more than it ever had before. And that created an awareness in my body, like, wow, when I change things or adjust things or release muscle or fascia tension, I actually feel better and I think more clear. So can you talk to people who have disconnected from their bodies and don't know how to even make that relationship or connection? Like what would be the steps to do that?
The steps is to do it with somebody else. We are a tribe. Don't do things themselves. There's a lot of us. A lot of us do the path. So reach, ask for help. We are a tribe. Just reach out. So for me, this is the first thing. Don't do it alone in the bathroom. Don't do it alone in the silence. Just reach out. And how do you do it? Tell me. Help me. How can I do this? And bring it, because it's important to talk and to ask for help. So for me, it's the most important thing. And to understand when you're disconnected, if it's an abuse, it's a sexual abuse, it's an abuse. Maybe it's not a sexual abuse, but you were abused by your father or mother in the way of in the voice tone, in a non-physical way, but in a verbal way, which is the same, because you disconnect because it's too much effort for a child, and it's easy for a child to disconnect because the stuff is enormous, humongous. You don't have the tools to do it, and then you just do like this, and then you stay there. You stay in freeze mode and freeze trauma mode, and this is terrible, and this is unhealthy, and this is horrible. But to be able to do the step back into yourself, it's like crawling over to your soul again, into your body again. You have to do it with people because it can be painful, and and you should definitely do it, but with a supporting community and supporting people. So the first thing you have to understand is you deserve it. You deserve to be whole. You deserve to be in you. You deserve to feel anything, everything, the good thing, pleasure, happiness, all of it, from the tip of your toe till here. All. You should be whole. That's the experience. We are here for that, for the wholeness, not to be disconnected. That's not an experience. That's super hard. It's a bad experience. So yeah.
Wow, it's you know, it's amazing the awareness that we lack. You know, I spend 24 hours a day with myself, but I am constantly here. I just turned 41 this year, and I'm so learning more and more about myself daily.
Me too.
I'm like, holy smokes, I didn't know I needed to do this, or I didn't know I needed to pull my energy back at this time, or I didn't know I could push forward at this time. I think it's so beautiful to start to become a lifelong learner of yourself. You know, it's not always digging into the book. Sometimes it's just like, oh, I need to explore more about how my emotions are, or what is it that triggers me, or how can I find more peace in my life? Can you talk about a little bit about the journey as you get older? Like, what are a couple of the things that we should be looking for as we get older, as we age, mentally, maybe physically? What are the couple of like the big signs saying like, hey, pay attention?
I think for starters, I think it gets, when you're connected, it gets easier in a way, because you just don't take it so seriously, and you just play with your mind a bit, you know. So you're just seeing your ego going, and you're seeing your mind reacting. It's just like, oh my god, here you go again. Or you're reacting to your mother, and you're like, are you doing this again to yourself? You know, just, are you crazy? You know better, you know. So, but you know, it's just the awareness becomes easier, and some signs you're getting older is it's easier to be with yourself, and it's easier to be with your mind. And it's funny at some points to see what you're thinking when you're stressful and angry, and it's a other side of you which is left like sitting like, oh my god, are you serious? This is really important. Are you really making a mess out of this? And it's important to be critical in a good way of yourself, and make it simple, and make it more relaxing, and to understanding that our mind exists to serve us, not the other way around. And when you realize this as you get older, everything is more smooth, because you don't take it personally, and you don't take it seriously, and you don't take it to yourself and from others as well, because you understand their point of view, and you understand, and you have empathy. Because if you're empathetic with yourself, you can be with others, not the other way around. Because first you have to be with yourself, and with your own shit, and with your own black side and dark side, and to understand how your not so good feelings exist, and then you can see it on others, and then you can respect and understand and be empathetic, not as an excuse, but as I'm a human, you're a human. Okay, I can see it. I don't like it, but I can see it. As you get older, I think some of the symptoms you have to be aware of is, I think we start when we are young, we are disconnected, because we are trying to be what our fathers want, daughters, fathers, sisters, brothers. And then as we go older, we start to be ourselves as one. And I think this is the journey, to be ourselves This is the primary thing. So it's just a connection between our purpose, our soul, and ourselves. So I think this is the journey to connect with who we are and to be at all times vigilant of our thoughts, vigilant of our way of being, vigilant of ourselves, because we are all, our ego will always try to do something, and we are always trying to be reactive to something, to our wounds, and to and it's just to be vigilant and to be at center, and to, as we get older, to get more in line and more centered to taking care of our body, not in the muscles and everything, but taking care of it as in a way of food, sleep, rest, limits, breathings, massages, awareness of our emotions in our body, awareness of our traumas, awareness of ourselves, and ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help for things that happened 30 years ago or things that happened yesterday, no matter, but to understand that all of our issues in our mind are also plasmated in our bodies as well. So to treat them both. And I think, yeah.
I just love your philosophy and take on everything you've shared. Normally, I would ask our guests, what does living an elevated life mean to you? But honestly, you have
It's it.
Every word that you have spoken over the last
Oh,
hour
yeah.
has been elevated. So my question to you would be, if you had a billboard on the side of a highway, what would you want it to say? What message would you share with the world?
Sleep and laugh, I think.
Sleep and laugh.
I love it.
Oh, that's the best. That's the best prescription I've ever heard.
That should be a book.
Just throw orgasms in there, then it was
good. Well, it will be good, I think, but I think you can orgasm in any, I orgasm myself sometimes when I think about when I'm like aha moments for me. When I'm making a mess and I was like, aha, and I was like, no, got you myself. So for me, I think that,
she's just living in bliss over there.
I love it. It's the way to live.
That's the way to live.
Can you share where our listeners can find you, soak up more of your wisdom? I feel like I want to have
Instagram. I can share the things, and in my website, I will share it to you, and then you can put it down.
Yes, of course. Yep, we absolutely will. And what is your next book title? That way we can be on the lookout for it.
I don't have a title yet. I don't know. It's been hard. I don't know. To write a book is really hard. It's my 5th book.
I was going to say, it's so hard. She's on her 5th one.
No, it's still hard. It's hard. It's difficult. I have 2 kids and it's easier. But books are difficult, As you get older, they are more difficult because you're just just something. I always read something that I would like to read it myself. I would like to write something I want to read, because otherwise I wouldn't write it. To have bullshit on it, I will not have it. Not for me. So it's just like, so it's something, I don't know. I will tell you. It's been a struggle for me. Then it's like, you have 2 names. No, I don't have 8 names. So it's
well, it's interesting. My girlfriend just sent me a scratch pad of about 20 different names for her new nonprofit. And I have,
oh my God, 20 names.
I have no problem helping you brainstorm to figure out what that.
Okay, when I have three names, I will send you.
Listen, just send me one line from the book and I'll come up with a name for you.
All right, I will.
My secret, if I could do any job in the world, I always joke and say I would name the nail polishes, because that just is the cutest. I love naming things. So
it's the white from the cloud it's burning from the whatever. Perfect. Here is the same. I don't know. There is the same. It's incredible. Mine is the red velvet from something whatever, and it's beautiful.
Yum. I love it so much. This has been such a pleasure. You are such a wise, beautiful soul, such a bright light, and the world is lucky to have your magic. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
I cannot wait for everyone to hear this. Let us know what your ahas and takeaways were. Be sure to connect. And thank you again for sharing your wisdom here on the Elevated Life.
Thank you.
Peace, everyone. Oh my gosh. All right. How do we?